Today I will be telling you the mysterious story of the Lake of the Pregnant Maiden, or Tasik Dayang Bunting. Come join me. Hi everyone, I'm Heidi, I'm a Malaysian author, and welcome back. Today I will be telling you the last of this trilogy of stories from Langkawi. I'm really excited to tell you the story, so sit back, relax and chill while you listen to the story called The Lake of the Pregnant Maiden. This is the story of Tasik Dayang Bunting, which means the Lake of the Pregnant Lady. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful princess from Kayangan, from the heavens above. She loved to go and fly down to earth to a particular lake, just often on an island just off of the main island of Langkawi. Now, this island is now known as Pulau Dayang Bunting, which means the island of the pregnant lady. This princess came down, and one day she met a mortal prince. They fell in love and they decided to get married. Very soon after, she got pregnant and the couple were very happy. Unfortunately, the baby died soon after he was born, and the heartbroken couple decided to bury the child near the edge of the lake. The Kayangan princess blessed the waters of the lake because she was so sad that this had happened to her. She wanted other women to avoid this sadness. So she blessed the waters, and she declared that anyone who takes these waters, who swims in these waters, they would be able to get a child. And that's why this lake is known as the Lake of the Pregnant Lady. Now, if you go to this particular lake and you look at the hills, you can see an outline of a woman who's pregnant lying on her back. According to the legend, the child turned into a white crocodile who became the guardian of the lake. And that was the story of the Lake of the Pregnant Maiden, or Tasik Dayang Bunting. Tasik means lake, Dayang means maiden, and Bunting means she's pregnant. You may have noticed some familiar traits in the story I just told you. First of all, there is that familiar trope of a heavenly maiden, a princess from Kayangan descending from the heavens to visit a body of water on earth. In this case, it's a lake, where she meets a human man. And for whatever reason, whether she falls in love with him or whether he steals her wings, her magical robes, she has to stay on earth. I've done a whole episode on Kayangan princesses in episode 2. I'll put a link down below if you want to check it out. Now, because this story has spread orally, there are so many different versions of this story that it is difficult to pinpoint the original. In some versions, the Kayangan princess has a name. Her name is Mambang Sari. In other versions, she falls in love not with a human man, but with a male jinn called Mat Teja. Now, Mat Teja spies the Kayangan princess bathing in the lake. He falls in love with her and he seeks the help of a local sage, what we would call Nenek Kebayan, called Tok Dian. And she tells Mat Teja, in order to make sure that Mambang Sari falls in love with him, he must wipe his face with the tears of a mermaid. And apparently there are many mermaids in Langkawi because he manages to do just that. He manages to find a mermaid, he makes her cry, which isn't very nice, and then takes her tears and wipes his face. And as a result, Mambang Sari falls in love with him, and then from that point on, it follows the same plot as the story I just told you. They have a baby, the baby dies, etc., etc. In another version, all the parties involved are humans. There are no Kayangan princesses or jinns. In this version, a prince called Prince Tajai falls in love with a court maiden called Telani. They are so enamored with each other that she gets pregnant, and they incur the wrath of the gods. In this case, they incur the wrath of Sang Kelambai, an ancient god, a giant. Now, Sang Kelambai actually makes an appearance in last week's episode, if you recall. That episode was about the story of Mat Cincang and Mat Raya. I'll put a link down below if you want to have a look at that as well. So Sang Kelambai, he is a giant. He's very powerful in Langkawi, and the king doesn't want to incur his wrath. So to appease the gods, he banishes Telani, the court maiden, away onto a deserted island. Now the Prince Dajjal, he pines for her, he wants to be with her, so he looks for her. So he sails away in a boat looking for her in the middle of this lake. Unfortunately, before he reaches her, their baby falls into the water and drowns, dies, and is mysteriously transformed into a white crocodile. Grief-stricken, the mother, Telani, she's transformed into a rock, which is now known as Batu Dayang. So Batu means rock, Dayang again means damsel. And the prince, who is sailing on his boat, gets transformed into an island called the Isle of Tajai. Now, the locals say that sometimes they can see a white crocodile swimming in between the island and the rock, Batu Dayang. So that is one of the other versions of this story. In last week's episode, we talked about how certain geological events explain the names of places in Langkawi and falls within the category of geomythical stories. Link to that episode down below. It's really interesting. You should definitely watch that episode. So this story, the Lake of the Pregnant Maiden, also falls within the category of geomythical stories. From a geological point of view, this oval-shaped lake is 800 meters in length, 350 meters wide, and has a maximum depth of 14 meters. The landscape in this area is formed by running water and rain, which erodes the limestone rock and shapes the hills into a combination of rounded, cone-like, and sharp peaks. And in one particular area, this landscape looks exactly like the profile of a pregnant lady lying down. And I think that is how this lake got its name. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to go to Tasik Dayang Bunting this time around. I did go visit the lake many years ago, and I remember seeing the profile of the pregnant lady in the mountain landscape, and it was just so amazing. I wasn't actually looking for fairy tales at the time. This was quite a while ago, but I just remember being mesmerized by the place. There's something special about that particular lake and that particular island. By the way, the Lake of the Pregnant Lady is situated on the island of the Pregnant Lady. So it's one of the smaller islands off the coast of the main island of Langkawi. This island, Pulau Dayang Bunting, is also associated with another myth, and that is called the myth of Gua Langsir, or the cave of the Lang Sui. According to local legend, local myth, the Lang Sui is a vampire who makes this terrifying screeching sound which can be heard from inside the cave. I've actually done an Instagram reel where I tell this story in 30 seconds, which wasn't easy, okay? So you should go check it out. It's on my Instagram page, Heidi Shamsuddin. I'll put a link down below. I plan to do more IG reels. It's quite challenging and fun to find fairy tales that I can summarize in 30 seconds. So I'm going to take it as a challenge. I will do more of what I call really tiny tales. Really tiny tales, get it? I'll do more of those IG reels in the future. I might even put them on the YouTube shorts. Let me know if that's the kind of thing that you'd like to see. So what do you think of this story? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please do leave a comment below. If you like this video and you want to hear more, please do like and subscribe to my channel. Support me in my mission to spread these Nusantara fairy tales out there. Now, before I go, I just want to tell you a bit about a new segment which I will introduce next week called Tiny Tales. I've already told you about my really tiny tales on Instagram Reels. But I will also have a segment called Tiny Tales here on Nusantara Fairy Tales with Heidi in this regular spot. Tiny Tales will take the form of quite short videos where I will simply be telling you the story, the fairy tale or folk tale, followed by quite a brief commentary. So it will be quite short videos. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I found so many short and sweet fairy tales from all around Southeast Asia, from the Nusantara, that are too short to turn into full episodes. But these stories are so interesting and so awesome that I just really want to tell you these stories. So all these small little stories will be put under the Tiny Tales category. This will also help me keep up with the schedule of uploading a video a week. As you can probably tell, it takes a long time to like read and research and put these videos together. And sometimes I just need a break in between. So when that happens, you'll find a little tiny tale. In addition, I plan to do a few new things with this channel. As you can see from the banner, it says Nusantara Fairy Tales, Books and More. So I'm going to actually do a special segment in this channel, a playlist just for kids. I might call it Kid Lit with Heidi. In fact, it might be introduced earlier than this episode because I plan to upload that during Hari Raya. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I'm a children's author and I have a lot to say about children's literature and children's books. But most of all, you know, we're all stuck at home now. At the time of recording this, the government just announced another MCO 3.0. I feel really sorry for our kids, for our children having to do their online classes at home. And I wanted to do something about it, at least make it a bit interesting for them. And that's why I decided to create more content for children. So there will be a section on children's literature, but that will probably be uploaded on another day. I'll keep Fridays for fairy tales, and I'll also be adding a few more things to the channel, which I hope will be beneficial to you, to me, to everyone. So that's the plan anyway. Hopefully I'll be able to increase my upload to 2 videos a week. We'll see. This is the end of this video, but don't go just yet. Check out my video on Kayangan princesses and geomythical stories. I'll put a link above and below for you. And thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.